Recently, I came across a talk by Jason Stanley called How Fascism Works, and it really helped me understand what fascism is, and I'd like to share with you what I learned. I'll link the talk that I'm summarizing somewhere in this video. I highly suggest that you go check it out. He's way more articulate than I am on the subject, and it's just an amazing talk loaded with way more details. But it's important that we understand what fascism is because we won't be able to confront the problematic forces that we face today unless we recognize them. In his talk, he illustrates how fascism is actually about loyalty and power. At its core, fascism is a tactic to seize power. And it does this by replacing material, truth, and reality, by embracing ethnic nationalist identity and creating a bond with a leader. Fascism is an us-them mentality. Once again, fascism's a tactic to seize power. It attempts to seize power by creating an us-them mentality. We see this in the United States today with things like the Muslim ban and leaders like Trump saying things like people from shithole countries. You see, fascism is about purity. Hitler wanted his pure Aryan race. This is the same type of purity that the KKK stood for. The KKK was protecting the traditional family. Hitler didn't want to be Mussolini. He was imitating the KKK. Furthermore, Hitler praised the United States for being a model of the state and for restricting immigration to European selects. The United States was seen as an extreme state by the jurists of the Nationalist Socialist Association. So, you have an authoritarian leader who promotes hyper-nationalism and plays off the politics of panic and fear. By spreading conspiracy theories, they break down the epistemological spaces. They use simple narratives that make sense to spark panic, fear, loss, paranoia. But you're not actually supposed to believe them. It's just supposed to make you hate the other side. For instance, when Edgar Maddison Welch shot up that pizzeria because he believed that they were running a child sex trafficking ring, he was acting rational, but was immediately disowned by the right. Another great point that Jason makes is that fascism requires panic about communism. It's fascist politics to paint the center-left, the social democrats, as communists. The ordinary person will not vote against their interests unless you paint the center-left as communists and out to get their property. They'd say that communists are hiding under the masks of center-left intellectuals, and that equality is a hypocritical attempt for takeover. In other words, liberalism is about liberty and equality. But if everyone is allowed to practice their own faith, then you're going to have to move the Christmas tree over. For with women's equality, men are going to have to give up some of their power. In fascist politics, you represent that as a takeover attempt. Isn't that interesting? Fascists will say that people only spread the myth of equality in order to take power from you because, one group must rule. One of my favorite quotes from Jason Stanley's talk is that, fascist politics are taking over when the dominant group feels like the world's biggest victims. I hope this helped you understand how fascism works and that you go listen to Jason Stanley's talk. It's loaded with way more details.